Hi, I'm Lars. Welcome back to the shop. Do you ever have problems with your faucets or spigots where the water's, it comes out or it pulsates? It's like it's strong, then it's weak, and it's strong. Or you're getting air coming out and then like spits water, and eventually that goes away and it comes out pretty strong. You probably live in the country like we do, and you probably have a pressure bladder tank somewhere in the line of the piping coming from your well into your house. And more than likely what's going on is the bladder that's in the pressure tank has ruptured and water's filling the tank, and you don't have any more pressure from air coming down on it. Therefore, every time that you turn off your spigot or whatever, water slowly, gradually goes back into the drains out of your house. And then when you let it back, when you open it back up, you're going to get a bunch of water rushing, but then you've got this air that's in your lines. So that's what's going to come out of your spigot. Also, if the bladder has ruptured, you have a pressure switch that's in line for your whole tank, for your whole system, that tells your system to tell the motor to turn on. Okay, that's usually around 45 psi, and you usually have your switch or your pressure in your bladder that sets about 40 psi. So you never want to get down below that 40 psi. You always want to have your pump turn on early, but just in case it does, it's got that much pressure to keep everything going good in your house. You're also going to find this if someone's taking a shower or doing the laundry and you turn on your sink and the water's just barely coming out because there's not enough pressure in the line. If this is something you're having problems with, or if you're just interested in how to do it, stick around, let's go downstairs and let's get to it. Today we're going to replace our well pressure bladder tank. I'm going to go through all the steps and what you need to know of why you might need to replace this, or just replacing it if you know it needs to be replaced. So back here is where our well comes in. Okay, so this is the well, this is the pressure tank, comes in. There's a bladder inside of the tank that's made of rubber, and there's a little bicycle valve stem or tire valve stem at the top here. And I can show you that on this one too. This is the new one that's going in. Looks like that. It's like it's a pressure tank. And if you're having problems at home, if you're having the problem where your water is pulsating, or it's just not keeping up the pressure, so this doesn't feel right in the shower, or when you turn on the spigot, if a lot of air comes out and then water starts coming out, you probably have a problem with this. And a way to diagnose this is we actually have a pressure gauge in our line. It's over here. I think you guys can see that. It's down here in the very bottom left corner. Let me kind of move this around so you can see it. It's right here. And when we turn on this spigot here, because you always have spigots in your lines when you have a well somewhere so you can drain the lines. And I'm not going to go down the entire thing, just right here. But so this guy here, when we turn this on, this shoots up to about 75 psi. Okay, so we have a pretty decent well pump that's in our ground. But when we turn it off, it stays there, and then it slowly backs down. And that's meaning that there's probably something wrong with this pressure tank over here. So if you get just a little tire gauge, bicycle gauge, whatever, you can put this on there and push down. As you can see, ours goes up really slow. It doesn't just pop up. And about 30 minutes ago, we were at 60 psi. Now we're about 45. So there's definitely either a leak in our house, but if there was a leak in the house with water, this well pump would be kicking on, and it hasn't kicked on. So this thing here has got to be having some sort of a leak in it. Sometimes when you push down on these valve stems, water will come out, and that's a sure sign that this is just full of water and it's not really doing anything. The other thing you can do is you can kind of shake it, and this here feels really heavy to me. I can't hear water in it, but this guy here is really light. All right, so the new tank's really light. This is really heavy, so we're going to replace it anyway because like I said, our pressure keeps going down. Since we've been standing here talking, we've lost 7 pounds of pressure. So the recommendations on this is whenever you replace your pressure tank, is to also replace your pressure switch. I'm not going to do this today, but it is a good idea. But I don't think the pressure switch, we're having any issues with it. Now, in order to do this, you're going to need some sort of wrenches, some channel locks, or if you have some pipe wrenches, you could use a couple pipe wrenches on it. Or if you have a crescent wrench, can be used. Or if you have some really big mechanics wrenches that will fit it. I think for my pressure valve, the top tank here, I think is an inch. Yeah, it's an inch and a 16th. I think fit it. Yeah, an inch and a 16th fit on it. So I'm going to be using this because this is a very tight area here that I can't just pull this out. A lot of pressure valves won't be sitting up on a little stand like this. They'll be on the ground. They'll be really big, but you get the idea. So the first thing you need to do is you need to turn off the electric for this. And that's at the circuit breaker. So something I always recommend people to do is always have a chart. Don't rely on this. This is ridiculous. Type it up, laminate it, put it in Excel, whatever, and then just hang it on your electrical box with a magnet. And then what we're looking for is the well pump. So there's my well pump. It says I'm on 26, 24, and 26, which is right here. So it should be a dual breaker, and we need to turn that off. Now at this point in time, we have absolutely no water running in the house because the well's off, so there's no pressure coming up from the well. And then the next thing you want to do is we got a fault here going on. You want to wait for these lights to go out. Once they're out, you know this is a dead unit. Okay, so now this is the ball switch to the rest of the house, or the ball valve. So we're going to turn off the rest of the house. Now the only thing we have in here going is what's in this pressure tank and the water going down to the well. So I'm going to take this and open this valve up and let the pressure out of it. Now you can't see this, but this just went down to 0 psi. And now whatever's draining is either coming up from the well, which that's impossible because we just broke the vacuum, so all that water just went down, or it's coming out of this pressure tank. So I don't know if we're going to get any more out. So I'm going to try cracking this off, but when I do it, I'm going to leave this open, and I'm going to put the bucket underneath her because I got a feeling a lot of water is going to come out of here. So as you can see, his bladder is blown because there's water in here. And if you've got a bigger bladder, you might need a dolly or a hand truck or something to get it outside. You might need to just lay it on the side and bring it over to your sump pump well, or a drain of some sort if you have a drain, if you don't have a sump pump, and drill a hole in the side of it just to release the pressure to get it out. Because you can see how this is doing like this, it's blop blop. That's what I was talking about for your sink. If your sink is doing this, your bladder is definitely blown. So something you can do is you can either remove this valve at the top, the pin. This bucket's cracked, Susan. Give me another bucket. I was going to put the bucket in the other bucket. That's trash. A lot of water in there. There. So now if you're a scrapper, you can take that, you can take it up to the scrap yard and get like 32 cents for it. Okay, so now take a towel and dip it down in here, or put a bucket underneath this if you want. You put your finger in it because you want to blow that water out a little bit. If you do have a valve, now that you got an open spigot, you can open this up and that water should drain down. So you don't want it all out because you don't want to have to repressurize everything. But clean this up the best you can. And if you do have a bigger valve, like a really big tank sitting on the ground, make sure when you take apart all the plumbing, hopefully it's made of copper or not brass, but it's not made totally of PVC. But you should be able to reuse it. If you can't reuse it, then make sure you put in new. But when you run your tape, just put it on your right finger like this, so that it's got a mullet, if you will, hanging off the back. And then put the bladder in your left hand or on your left leg. Lay that on there and then spin this around like this. Go about 3 or 4 times and then snap it, and take your finger and just kind of roll it over it so it heats up a little bit to seal. If you do it like that, you're going to keep your tape in really good shape, and you'll get a good piece of tape on your threads. Now you just want to put it up here and spin it down as far as you can. It'll start getting tight because the threads are at an angle. They're like in a V. It's not that you're running out of area. And you get it just about hand tight. And grab your crescent wrench and just hang on to the bottom of this and just pull this about a 1/4 turn. And that's it. Now, these are already pressurized. They usually come with about 40 psi. Make sure you check your manual to find out what you need. Ours says 38, so 40 psi would be just great. If this was at 25 psi, we probably wouldn't have bought the tank, for the default pressure in it, because it would be too small of a tank. And that's another thing. When you're replacing your tank, make sure you either go with the same size tank or a bigger tank. Never go smaller. Otherwise, you're going to lose pressure in your house. You're going to end up putting more pressure in this. This is not going to last. It's recommended to have these checked out at least by yourself or a professional at least once, I would say every 3 years. So now we're going to turn the water back onto the house. If I can. That's going to release the water in the house. Now I'm going to turn the breaker back on. Sometimes you might have a switch over here, but make sure you kill the breaker. Just going to make sure we got pressure in it. So we're holding about 65 psi, which is good. If I were to turn this and turn on this valve, and it's coming back up with pressure. So that's how you test it. Make sure that your pressure will go down to around 40-ish. So this guy's pressure switch is set, I think, to 45. So when our pressure in our house goes down to 45, this kicks on, tells the well circuitry here to turn the pump on and put more pressure in. This will keep pressure all the way down to 40 psi. So this is not really flexing a lot because we never get down to 40 psi. Alright, so we did it with the pipe tape, and trust me, I've used pipe tape throughout this entire plumbing of all of our house. So pipe tape is really good, thread tape, but it did leak a little bit, so I went and put the paste back on it. Okay, I pulled it back up, put the paste on it, and made sure that it was really packed tight. All you got to do with this is just paint the threads, spin it back down. When it comes up to the top, because it's going to ooze out, because there's little pieces of sand in here, and they'll fill into the threads, and that's where the water was coming. It's kind of working its way up the thread, that the pipe tape just didn't really get in well enough. So make sure you buy some of this just in case. Thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I hope you learned something from the video. If you have any questions about anything, throw them down in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer the questions. Been doing plumbing and electrical and building houses and stuff for pretty much a good part of my life. Susan and I actually built our own house. We did all the plumbing, all the electrical, all the HVAC, framed up the house and did everything. Now, we did not do this alone. We had some help from some very good friends, Michelle and Scott, and some other people that I don't know if I can tell you their names, but I'm just going to stick with Michelle and Scott and her father, my father-in-law, Bob. I always say, try to do it yourself first. Okay, make sure you can, go out and try something. You might learn something. You might learn it, you like what you did, and you might want to do it again. So that's what I do. There's nothing out in the world that I will ever say, nah, I'm not going to do it, unless it's like heights, because I hate heights. You're always welcome back here in the shop, and as always, have a good day.